Welcome to the MMA Killshot podcast from DFS Army. I'm Sniper. That's Monk. Hit the like button. We're going to break down UFC Vegas 82, Brendan Allen versus Paul Craig. We got 14 fights. We got a week off for the holiday next week. Monk, I want to get going, but you got anything to kick off this spectacular card? I don't want to complain. I love fights, but oh boy.
Yeah, oh boy, for sure. Honestly, I don't want to skip over any fight card, but I am securing tickets to UFC Austin tonight, so I'm looking forward to December 2nd for sure.
Yeah, 100%. You know what? In all honesty, in terms of afternoon fights, 2 o'clock to watch, great.
Yep.
DraftKings is a disaster, I think, but we'll cover it. Couple good underdog spots I do like to bet. So really, it's the DFS side of me going, this is gonna suck. Especially when you got, we'll get to, let's just talk about it off the top. Jordan Leavitt could have, his wife is due 4 days after. We haven't had, and he said, I'm gonna pull out if she goes into labor. And you know what? I get it. Respect, but all I could think is the UFC isn't gonna tell us. DraftKings has been like, we've had so many of these disasters, and they're actually actively foreshadowing this one. It's fucking horrifying.
Yeah, especially since the whole point, the whole mess he's in because of is not pulling out. Now he might have to pull out because of his daughter. So who knows?
Oh God, on the nose. All right, that's what we got for the open, guys. Hit the like button if you didn't already. Drop me a comment with what you think the best fight of this card is going to be. Who's going to win fight of the night? With that, let's jump into it. Main event time. Brendan Allen, Paul Craig. Brendan Allen is 9,400. Paul Craig is 6,800. The line on this fight, Allen is minus 430. Paul Craig is plus 330. Monk, kick us off this week.
Yeah, I'll try to keep it quick. This line is too wide, in my opinion, way too wide. Brendan Allen, 9,400 is crazy. Paul Craig at 6,800. I mean, that's my guy. Maybe I'm a little biased, but he's down to middleweight now, obviously. He ran through Andre Muniz. Let's just look at the last 5 Brendan Allen's fought, because everybody's on the Brendan Allen train this week. Obviously, his odds are through the roof right now, which is crazy. His salary's through the roof. He beat Bruno Silva, who hasn't, he beats like Jordan Wright and guys in that category. He beat Andre Muniz. He beat Christoph Jotko, the dirty cheater Jacob Malkoun, and then Sam Alvey. That's his last 5. Malkoun might be one of the better ones there, and he's got 10 pro fights. Meanwhile, Paul Craig beat Muniz quicker, 5 minutes quicker than Brendan Allen, fought Johnny Walker, who's fighting guys that are fighting for titles, and then, beat just ask him, the current champ in the light heavyweight division, Jamal Hill. He will tell you if you ask him, even if you don't ask him. So I just think Paul Craig, the line way too wide here. If I was a betting man, which I am, I would be putting a little bit of money somewhere on Paul Craig. I would find a line, a money line, a prop, something. But for DraftKings, I think this fight scores well regardless. Brendan Allen, though, when he wins, sometimes he scores 120, sometimes he scores 80 points. So you just kind of got to watch out for that. Last thing I'll say, I think he's overpriced, and I'm probably picking Paul Craig straight up, to be honest.
Wow. I can't pick Paul Craig. I agree. There's not much value on Brendan Allen. Paul Craig is dangerous on the ground. We've seen the Jamal Hill. We saw Andre Muniz if he can get on top. Much bigger than Muniz in that fight. I don't think he's going to be towering over Brendan Allen. I don't think. I need to look at the face-offs, but regardless, the one thing those guys don't have that Brendan Allen, I believe, does is good enough takedown defense to keep this on the feet. And I think Brendan Allen will be the better striker. I think it's close on the ground, but there's bigger skill gaps the rest of the way. So I am on Allen. I do think it scores pretty well. Both guys, I believe, Paul Craig is going to, remember when he rolled at Volkan Ozdemir's legs for 3 rounds? Like, he's going to try and get the fight to the ground into a scoring position. Brendan Allen, I think, is good on top. I don't think he gets caught. I just think he'll be clean enough to get the victory here. I do think it scores well. Don't love the value, though. Let's move on to fight number 2. We got the co-main event is Michael Morales taking on Jake Matthews in this one. Morales 9,100. Matthews is 7,100. Morales is minus 320. The comeback on Jake Matthews is plus 270. At this point, Jake Matthews is not a rookie. He's the vet at this point. And I have to be honest, I came close to picking Jake Matthews, and I actually think he's the better cash game play. 9,100 for Michael Morales. I know he's undefeated. What this comes down to me is the striking. I think Michael Morales is the cleaner, more aggressive striker. Probably going to land the better shots, but Jake Matthews, we saw him in the Oh God, what fight was it? We got his eyes gouged out too. Help me out. Help
Was
me
that
out. I'm
Fialo?
flailing. No, it was the
I don't
Asian
remember.
guy whose name I'm just totally blanking on.
I don't have it in front of me.
Um,
Hold on.
I feel ridiculous. Am I going that far back now? Oh, it was the Leech in 2018. I'm thinking
Oh,
of Li Jinglong. I was like, Li Jinglong is going to run through him, and it just didn't happen. Jake Matthews was able to get takedowns and control the fight, and that is a path to victory here. I'm picking Morales because I believe he's the better striker, more explosive, and maybe the better athlete. Jake Matthews has a viable path to victory through the ground game. So if you ask me where the value is on this fight, it's probably Jake Matthews. DFS side, I do think Morales has some upside, and he is who I'm going to have to pick. Just I can't trust Jake Matthews. I don't know which guy is going to show up. So Morales is my pick.
yeah, it's Morales for me too. I don't know about GPPs, but I think he is a great cash game play at 9,100. And yeah, you said it. Jake Matthews, a veteran. He's got a million fights in the UFC, but who's he been fighting? Darius Flowers, Matt Semmelsberger, Andre Fiallo, who has a non-existent chin, Diego Sanchez. Those are 4 of his last 5 fight. Like what? Who? He's fighting nobody. Sean Brady's the only one he lost to. That has anywhere close to a decent name, in my opinion. Michael Morales, meanwhile, you could say, well, who has he fought? Well, he only has 3 UFC fights, so he's still building and working up, and he's looked fantastic in all of his fights. Unfortunately, his DraftKings points have kind of fallen off a cliff, so that's why I don't really like him for GPPs, but I do like him for cash. I think he gets the win over Jake Matthews. He should absolutely be the more athletic, the sharper striker out of the 2. So yeah, I'm picking Morales, and I like him. I like him for cash this week.
Next fight up, let's talk grappling, boys and girls. It's Chase Hooper versus Jordan Leavitt. Chase Hooper on DraftKings is 8,800. Leavitt is 7,400. We go over to the betting odds. Hooper is minus 200. Leavitt is plus 170. Monk, who you got?
Yeah, I think I'm actually going to pick Jordan Leavitt with the caveat of if this fight actually takes place, his wife pregnant, as we mentioned, about to have a baby. He did say he was going to pull out of the fight if she has the baby before the fight. So who knows? I wouldn't want to tell you to go over on this fight and then somebody isn't there and then, it's another shit show. Chase Hooper, what are we going to get with him? Is he going to score 74 points against slippery Pete Barrett? Or is he going to score like 142 or 120 like he has in 2 of his last 3 fights against guys with definite holes in their game? So I really don't know. I think this one is probably a disgusting fight, and I don't mean that in a good way, like bad meaning bad or bad meaning good. I mean, it's gross. So yeah, give me Leavitt by split decision. And this one, yeah, it's going to be I actually don't like this one for DraftKings, really.
Well, the problem is it's grappler versus grappler, and if they start grappling, you can rack up some points that way. And both guys decent looking for a submission. I think Hooper's actually a little bit better on the ground. And God, if this has the potential to be the worst striking fight you've ever seen in your life, if nobody can get a takedown, or let's say because Hooper, I think, is actually gonna have the advantage on the feet, which is bananas to say, by the way. Like it's horrifying. But he knows he has an advantage there. If Leavitt can't take him down, why not just win the fight that way?
Yeah.
I don't know if he'll do that, but this has the potential to be an ugly, ugly fight. I'm not recommending to go over on it for, just like you said, the potential Leavitt pulls out, the potential they stand. And, if one guy gets on top and just has control time, doesn't get a finish early, it might not score great. I am on the Hooper side, though. That would be my preferred play.
The line seems way too wide. I don't know about you. It just that's crazy to pay that much for Chase.
A little wide. I don't think it's way too wide. I think it's a little wide. Next fight up, let's go Peyton Talbott versus Nick Aguirre. Talbott, 9,500, most expensive fighter on the card. 6,700 is Nick Aguirre. Line on this fight, Peyton Talbott's minus 800. Nick Aguirre is 5,500. Holy shit, because I can't personally lay that kind of juice on a fighter making their UFC debut. I'll mix in a little in GPPs because the odds are what they are, but I don't trust this fucking kid for cash games. No way. Like he's a newbie. Yes, he looked good on Contender Series. Talbot probably can outstrike him. That's where I'm going to make the play. Nick Aguirre, though, I think will be the better grappler. He's got a clear path to victory, and at this price, I don't think nobody wants to click the least expensive fighter on the card. I'll mix him a little bit. He's live. This line feels way too wide to me. while I agree Talbott wins more often than not, minus 800, 9,500. I'm sketched out by that, but Talbot will be my pick. How about for you?
Yeah, same. Talbot's the pick. I really, I'm a stats guy. I don't have a lot on this fight. Definitely do your tape. Nick Aguirre looked awful in his first fight against Daniel Argueta there. Determined Daniel Argueta. He
Dan
allowed.
Argueta is good though. Dan Argueta is
Yeah.
legit.
Well, and what did he just lose to Miles Johns, who just popped for not for cocaine, like some Twitter people are reporting, but for some steroid. But I love how Miles Johns is like, I did not pop for cocaine, and people are like, well, what did you pop for? And he's just quiet.
Anabolic steroids.
Yeah,
Shit.
exactly. Yeah, actual anabolic steroids. But yeah, the whole point, Nick Aguirre didn't look great. Gave up 71 points. That's without the bonus, guys, to Daniel Argueta in a 3-round unanimous decision. So gave up over 100 points there. I don't know much about this one. The pick is Talbot. I agree with you. It's way too wide. Never would I ever play him in cash. But GPP, I'll have the tiniest bit. But yeah, Nick Aguirre is absolutely live. Don't go overboard on this fight.
All right, a little more interesting here. We got Amanda Ribas. Price on DraftKings is 9,000, which no thank you there. Taking on Luana Pinheiro, who is 7,200. Line on this fight coming down slightly. Ribas is minus 230. Pinheiro is plus 195. I bet Pinheiro a plus 200, but you can still get it, FanDuel, which tells you where I'm going with this fight. I'm going to be doing a video probably tomorrow night for Sharp App talking about this bet, so I can go ahead and give it away as my free one for the week. I like Luana Pinheiro. I don't understand this line at all, frankly. And you can't say I'm an Amanda Ribas hater. I was all over Amanda Ribas last time. You remember I was telling everybody, not last time, against Viviane Arujo, and she put up 116 points, and I had a great fucking night back in March. Did lose to Macy Barber last time out, but that was quote unquote lose to Macy Barber. This is different. Luana Pinheiro is good. She looked really good against Michelle Watterson. She's aggressive. She can grapple. Don't like the way Amanda Ribas takes strikes. She backs up, backpedals, does not look good when she gets hit hard. And Luana Pinheiro, for this division, can crack. I think at some point she is going to hurt Amanda Ribas and back her up. I think she's got potential to get takedown, submission. I actually think she's a little better than Amanda Ribas everywhere. Ribas' path to victory, by the way, why I hate her on DraftKings, is keeping this at distance. I do think she's a little faster and probably the more technical striker. So that is where she would have the edge. So in that path to victory, she doesn't score well on DraftKings. I just don't think she can stay clean enough over 3 rounds against Pinheiro. So I like the dog here. But even if you like the favorite, I would caution you against playing a lot on DraftKings. So Pinheiro, I'm going to go ahead and it's a women's MMA fight. I'm going to go ahead and call my shot early. This is definitely my kill shot for the week. I like Pinheiro Bunsen. I already have a bet down. Monk, how about for you?
Yeah, I also like the underdog here. I can't trust Ribas at this price. I mean, you said it. She hates getting hit. She's out here getting KO'd by strawweights.
She's Malcolm Gordon like.
Yeah, exactly. It's ridiculous. Just because she scored 116 against Vivi once, like, congrats, but like I don't expect that to be the norm going forward, obviously. Luana Pinheiro does kind of scare me a little bit too. Against Marcos, 130 points, great debut, then 80 against Hughes and 51 against the Karate Hottie. So I really don't want much of this fight. The pick is going to be Pinheiro. Like I said, can't trust Ribas when she's getting back down. I'll give it to her. She is, I was going to say, kind of tough. I've seen her in fights where she's getting beat up and she won't. You have to knock her out or have the referee. You have to really be piling it on.
Barber hit her plenty.
Exactly. You got to really be piling it on for it to be a finish. That said, that has happened twice in the past 3 losses. So, Marina Rodriguez, Caitlin Chukagi, and Macy Barber, there are definitely worse fighters out there. But yeah, I can't trust Ribas at this huge salary. So the pick's Pinheiro. I don't know how confident I am, and I'll be looking elsewhere in DraftKings for sure.
Moving on, let's talk about one of the replacement fights. Uros Medic, he's 8,900. I did not look up this name. I should have looked up pronunciation, but we just got salary from DraftKings like a few hours ago. We're talking Thursday night here. So I'm going to go with Miktebek or Orolbai. I think I did that pretty good. And what's funny, Orolbai is your favorite. He's minus 140. Medic is plus 120. So obviously he's a legit prospect if he's coming in as the favorite. So we get weird salaries here. Medic is 8,900. Orolbai is 8,400. Medic becomes a dog shit value on DraftKings. And frankly, I kind of like Orolbai. I know I went first last fight, but I'm just gonna go with the lead in here. Orolbai is having a lot of success in LFA. He's knocking people out. He's got big power. He's won 3 straight LFA fights, whereas you got Uros Medic, who's coming off of the win against
Semmelsberger.
That's right. And look, he's faced big strike. He got knocked out by Jalen Fuller. What this comes down to is that they're going to strike. I think Orolbai's just got more power, and I think that's where it's a close fight. I will say I don't think Medic is a fade at 8,900 in GPPs, because I kind of see this fight ending in a finish. I think we're going to see a lot of leather being swung here. The under 2.5 rounds is minus 200, so don't get lost on this fight in DraftKings. Medic is the kind of guy, we had it was the who's the guy who looks like he's a million years old, but he's like 28 and came in on short notice, got a knockout. It was a fight where we had like a 7,400 versus 7,100, and everybody was on the 7,100 fighter or 7,400 because he was minus 300, and then there was a quick knockout. I don't remember. Sorry, guys. I got a food delivery here. Very healthy Taco Bell.
Nice.
Very, very, very good. That's for after the show. So I'll be feeling great. So I don't want you to get lost on Medic is the point, just because the odds value is not there for cash games, but it is in terms of a finish. And game theory wise, he's not going to be high owned. But I am picking Orolbai. I think he's got more power. I think he's the better striker. Short notice fight, these ones can be weird. So to me, a GPP fight where I have to go with Orolbai. How about for you, Monk?
Yeah, I agree, except I'm picking the other side. I'm picking Medic here. He's gone against tough strikers, hard hitting strikers, I should say. Matt Semmelsberger. He took punches from Semmelsberger, came back and finished the fight. I had a ton of him that week, so I was extra happy. He's only lost to Jalen Turner, who's kind of fallen off a little bit. But he got subbed there in the first round. Otherwise, he's KOing guys. 3 of his wins, all 3 KOs in the UFC, and 2 of those wins, 109 points and 122 almost. Meanwhile, I think everybody's kind of fallen into a trap here. Like, this guy's 11-1. Mikey Orolbai, we'll call him. 11-1. He's got 10 finishes, like looking good in LFA. That's true. But Medic is up here fighting UFC guys that have been, several fights in the UFC. I'm just trying not to fall into the trap here of the guy with the difficult name to pronounce who wears an awesome yet funny hat on his head. I think people are like, this is the next Shavkat or whoever, you know what I mean? So I'm just trying not to fall into that. I think there is still definitely value on Medic at 8,900. Probably avoiding this for cash, maybe a little bit of Medic, but this is super high variance on the Orolbai side. Like, if it pays off,
don't play Medic in cash. Do not play Medic.
It's going to be good if it pays off for you, but Medic is going to be low owned on in GPP tourneys now. So I'm going to look to take advantage of that.
All right, let's move on to one of my favorite fights on the card, honestly. Jonathan Pearce at 8,400, taking on Joanderson Brito at 7,800 on DraftKings. The line on the fight, we got Pearce at minus 125, Brito at plus 105. I will keep to the order this time. Monk, you're first.
I'm going with Jonathan Pearce here. I'm going to play a ton of him this week. I don't really understand the people that are high on Brito. He lost to Algio, the only guy that has any kind of takedown ability that he's faced in the UFC. Took him down twice relatively easily and beat him when people were really high on him there. Then he fought Feely, who poses no takedown threat, Lucas Alexander, who poses no takedown threat, and Weston Wilson, who poses no threat at all of any kind. Meanwhile, Pearce is fighting Elkin, Amir Khani, Christian Rodriguez, guys that are doing decent stuff in the UFC, and he's taking them all down. I counted this up on the show the other night, 23 takedowns in his past 5 fights. Yeah, I want all of this DraftKings upside. It is extremely rare for him to come even close to, not scoring 100 points, and usually he is well over that. So I don't think anything changes here. Give me Jonathan Pearce. I'm personally taking a stand on this fight. I'm not playing much of Brito. I think Pearce has this one. Yeah, he hits hard. Brito does, but Pearce hopefully is no Pat Sabatini, and we're going to see some wrestling domination here.
I love that I love that KO, by the way. That was good for us.
I've
Remember
been
me last
telling people for 2 times Pat Sabatini has a suspect chin, and people literally argue with me.
Nope, that one made some money last week on that one.
Mm-hmm.
I'm on Joe Anderson Brito, but I'm mostly on the fight. It's a GPP fight for me, and it's a lean towards Brito. And part of it, I have to admit, I think I see everybody on Pearce, and I go, this doesn't seem that clear to me. So I kind of just want to get some ownership and be cheaper. But the case on the other side, though, I would say, okay, Jonathan Pearce, Darren Elkins, Makwan Amirkhani, are they really that good at wins? To me, they're not. Elkins at this stage. Makwan, I've been saying forever, is a fucking fraud. Like, just look at his topology picture. But it's pretty clear in that Pearce needs to get this fight to the ground. And if he can, great. He probably wins the fight, scores a lot of points. And if he can, it's because he's unconscious. And Brito has scored a lot of points. So if you have, I'm fine with Monk's take. If you have a strong take on it, you want Pearce, play a lot of them. But regardless, I'd play a lot of this fight. I'm going to even it out more. There's 14 fights in the card. GPPs. My gut reaction, I haven't built lineups yet, is like 40% Brito and 30% Pearce, but I want to get in that 70-ish percent range or more of this fight. I just love this fight overall. I think one side will score well. I lean towards Brito because I think he's going to find the chin at least once, and I don't know if Pearce can stand up to it. But it's not a play I'm making a bet on. That's just my slight lean on the fight. So for me, the pick is Brito. Just make sure you play plenty in that fight, regardless. All right, let's move on. Let's talk Jose Johnson taking on Chad Anheliger. I can't say his fucking name. I've been practicing it too. Anheliger.
I just say Anheliger. I have no idea.
Anheliger?
That's what I don't know if that's right.
I don't fucking know. Chad. Jose Johnson against Chad. Jose Johnson is minus 200. Chad is plus 170. Monk, we live in a world where Jose Johnson is in the upper 8K on DraftKings. Discuss.
We also live in a world where people are actually playing him and telling me he's going to, like, this fight is terrible. This is the definition.
I'm going to play him.
This is definition of high variance. You have to play both sides, but this fight sucks. Like, I am not a Jose Johnson fan whatsoever. I mean, I'm not really a Chad Anheliger fan. The stats on this fight are god awful, so I don't really have much to say. Like I said, low variance. One of these guys could get finished. I guess I'm going to be playing more of Anheliger, and I don't even like that to say it out loud, but I just don't think Jose Johnson is very good. And that said, he could come out here and finish Anheliger, so I'm going to be reluctantly playing this fight.
Yeah, you kind of have to. You know what I have something to say about it. At this point, some of these fights this week, I was making jokes in my notes at DFS Army, which check out. Links are below. Make sure you sign up there. Promo codes, all that good stuff. You get to read, more in-depth analysis, but also some funny jokes because Jose Johnson could get taken down by a Las Vegas John with $20 grabbing those escort cards on the strip. He can't.
Yep.
He can't stop a takedown. He just cannot do it. The problem is Chatty boy hasn't showed any wrestling ability, none. And if it's on the feet, Jose Johnson's going to fuck him up because he's long, he's better on the feet. Chad better shoot or land something big I don't see coming. So I got to go with Jose Johnson. The skill sets I've seen, he's got a big hole. The problem is for me in playing a lot of Chad is that I just said I want to play Brito. I already picked Pinheiro. I got a couple other dogs I like. How much Chad am I going to fit in on DraftKings? You're making me bet aside. I'd probably find like that Jose Johnson wins by finish. Like that would be my value play, but it's not a strong take. That's where I would go for value on this fight. Speaking of value, though, like here we go.
Finally,
Christian Leroy Duncan. He is 8,500 taking on Dennis Tiuliulin, who is 6,800. Sniper, that doesn't sound right. Well, that's because this is another short notice replacement fight, and Christian Leroy Duncan is minus 500. Dennis Tiuliulin is plus 375. Do me a favor, cash games. Lock in Christian Leroy Duncan and move on about your day. If you don't, you're doing it wrong. Period. End of story. And that's kind of how I think this fight plays out. Christian Leroy Duncan is better. Tiuliulin in short notice. It's gonna have to land some kind of crazy KO. I don't see it coming. I'll play Christian Leroy Duncan as a chalk I'm gonna eat, and hopefully he doesn't burn my ass. But He went to decision against Armin Petrosian. Got plenty of finishes in Cage Warrior, has finishing upside. Just I don't see why I wouldn't play him. So I'm kind of keep it simple, stupid in this case. What do you got, Monk?
Yeah, I agree. It's Christian Leroy Duncan. You said it, minus 500, and he's 8,500. Dennis Tiuliulin is terrible. He beat Jamie Pickett, and it took him damn near 10 minutes to do it. So that's his only win in the UFC. This is super short notice. Can't spell CLV without CLD. So, yeah, give me Christian Leroy Duncan. Like you said, lock it in cash. I don't mind it in GPPs. I'll probably have next to no percent of Tiuliulin, maybe in the 5 to 7% range if I'm feeling froggy.
All right, next up, a fight that gave me legitimately a couple problems breaking it more than I thought it was going to. And it's Mick Parkin, who's 9,200 at DK, taking on Kyle Machado, 7,000 on DraftKings. The line on this fight, Mick Parkin is minus 330. Machado is plus 270. Monk, you are first before I tell you why I struggled.
Yeah, another reluctant fight that I might have to play a little bit of. Mick Parkin beat Jamal Pogue, scored 68.6 points, and in no way looked to ever finish the fight ever. Normally, I would just discount that entirely, but we just saw it with Jamal Emmers, who's also never looked for a way to finish a fight.
I don't want to fucking talk about that.
Dude, just what, man? What you pick the time to get the 50K bonus when you miss weight by 2. And he's calling out for a 50K bonus. Dude has such low fight IQ. He doesn't realize that he is no longer eligible for the bonus because you miss fucking weight. Anyways, Jesus. Yeah, so Mick Parkin didn't ever look for a way to finish the fight. I'm not interested in him. I'm not interested in him at what, 9,200? Are you kidding me? That's insane. He was 73 last time. He's 1,900 over that. Kyle Machado would have scored 88 points in his win over Kevin Schlafarsky in the DW. I'm not interested in this fight, is my long way of saying it. I'll play a little bit in GPPs, not playing any of it in cash. Well, that's not true. I guess Mick Parkin probably gonna win, but do you really want 70 points in cash at 9,200? There's got to be other options for you. So, yeah, I'm not interested in this one.
So my problem here is that Mick Parkin is, and it's just a GPP fight for me because Mick Parkin's got a low floor, and could put up a blah number and a win. He's 100% better technically, but these are big guys. Machado's going to come out swinging like a fucking maniac. That's what he, and maybe he'll land something. And just I see a lot of scoring upside in Parkin. If they have these close rounds, Machado's going to throw the bigger strikes. I think he's going to tire though. I ended up on Mick Parkin because he's just better technically all around. But Machado is live and is the kind of guy that to me I feel like can break a slate. I can't pick him straight up because I think Parkin is better, but I do think Machado would be the value side both on DraftKings and a bet. Honestly, if you made me bet a side, I'd probably bet Machado at plus 270. Actually, I'd go find Machado by finish and just would take my Hail Mary there rather than playing minus 330 juice on Mick Parkin. He's better. He's definitely better, but that much better? Speaking of dog turds, yeah, this I'm not going to be nice here. Lucas Alexander is 9,300, taking on Yeka Seragih at 6,900. Line on this fight, Alexander's minus 510, Seragih is plus 395. I have said over and over again, I do not believe in MMA math, and I don't. Except that if you see the second Yeka Seragih got any kind of step up, did you see what Anshul Jubilee did to him? Lucas Alexander may not be a world beater, but he's probably gonna finish aggressively Yeka Seragih. Lucas Alexander, yes, he got finished by Joe Anderson Brito, but he beat Jacob Kilburn, he beat Steven Peterson, and yeah, those aren't the best names, but they're better than the loss to Anshul Jubilee. They're better than the win against Wan Bin Ki and Pawan Man Singh, and there's levels to this, and unless Lucas Alexander is thinking the same thing I do and does not show up, I don't see how he loses this fight. He should finish. I'm way more heavily invested in Lucas Alexander than I want to be, but there's too many dogs for me to want to play Yeka Seragih. And if he shows up, it's one of those, okay, I had a bad night. But yeah, Alexander's a play on one of my favorite pay-up options. Monk?
Yeah, wow. I mean, oh, gross. I guess I agree. I don't want to, but yeah, I guess this is a GPP fight. Um, I'm not really interested in either guy. I mean, Alexander at this price is insanely ridiculous. He was 7,500 against Peterson. He was 6,800 against Joe Anderson Brito, who didn't knock him out, instead took him down. You know, the guy who has no wrestling game whatsoever. And then now he's $9,300. Yeah, Jacob Seragih. If I was betting, I would just I'd take the shout out to my guy Lou Betya plus 1,000 round 3 Jekka submission. That's what I would do.
Ugh.
Yeah, this fight sucks. It's probably going to be Alexander early. I mean, Seragih lost to a guy who lost to a guy that was barking in the octagon. So yeah, give me Alexander. I'm not happy about it, and I will play around field weight of him. I'm not looking to go over really though.
I got some more ridiculous things to say here as we talk Eileen Perez versus Lucy Pudilova. Eileen Perez is 8,600. Pudilova 7,600. Eileen Perez is minus 190 to minus 200 in some sports books. Pudilova is plus 160 to plus 165. And Monk, you know what I'm going to say, so I'm going to pose this question to you. Just because Eileen Perez drives around a dump truck and she smashed Ashley Evans Smith last time out, why does that make her a favorite? Because I can't put the pieces together.
Because Lucy Pudilova lost to Justine Kiss. She's only beaten Wu Yanan in her last 5. Yeah, I agree. Before you say it, I think she did beat Jocelyn Edwards, but who the fuck is Jocelyn Ed? Like, these are not powerhouses in the division by any means whatsoever. So, yeah, I think people see the 1 and 4 in the last 5. They don't like that.
Well,
She's not.
that's in the UFC though. That's what's a
Yeah,
little
sure.
deceiving is
You got to go to Octagon or some bullshit to find
right. Well, she lost to Talita Bernardo in Octagon, which is, you know, she's legit. She should be 2-0 in her second stint in the UFC.
Should be, but either way, this is still low level women's MMA. We just saw Alexander at a minus 500 and some price tag or whatever he is. I don't remember what you said. So the minus 200 really doesn't surprise me for Perez. When she wins, she scores extremely well. So if she can get Pudilova down, yeah, I'm going to take some of that at 8,600. I'll also take some of Pudilova at 7,600, but I'm not going crazy on this fight. It should be noted that Aylin Perez's nickname is no longer Fiona, and she changed it to Nurmagomedov. So do with that what you will.
She also she had some weird thing. She's got some weird injury I saw in an interview, like under her eye, or I don't know what the fuck is up with that. I got to watch the interview again, but she's not 100% healthy.
Well, good thing she's fighting Lucy Pudilova.
I like that her affiliation is she trains out of the Goat Shed.
Yeah.
I don't even
with
know
Jillian Robertson, right?
Yeah. So I am picking Lucy Pudilova because I do think she'll be able to stop the takedowns, get this into the clinch situation, and is the better striker. But Eileen Perez will have the wrestling advantage, is probably a little bit bigger, and if she gets on top early, will probably suck all the life out of Lucy Pudilova and put up a big number. I concede that. I think she's going to have a hard time closing the distance and doing that. But if she can implement her game plan, she's the better DraftKings score, even if I'm picking Pudilova. It's one of those you have to analyze, okay, who scores the best on a win? It is Eileen Perez. I kind of like the idea of a punt with Pudilova, except I'm already playing Luana Pinheiro, who I like more. So we'll see if I need her. The point is I'm picking Pudilova. She's fine in cash games. Secondary option in GPP, even on a pick, because I don't see a ton of upside. And I'll mix in. I'll probably be underweight to Perez because I think she's going to be popular, but I'm not going to let Eileen Perez destroy my night. Unlike fucking Jamal Emmers, you mother.
Oh, Jamal Emmers.
I had to bring it up. Next fight, let's go to Nicholas Motta taking on Trey Ogden. DraftKings salary, Motta's 8,300. Ogden is 7,900. Line on this fight, Motta's minus 130. Ogden is plus 110. The next two fights are the two pick'em fights on the card. This one is pretty close to me. I am going to lean towards Trey Ogden. I don't honestly have a great lean on this fight. I think Ogden has the wrestling grappling advantage, and that's the difference maker for me. Motta will be more dangerous in the feet. To me, it's a close fight, kind of broken down just like that. I lean towards the grappler like I usually do, but Motta's live. I don't. Clearly, he's the favorite. I'm going to lean towards the Ogden side, and this is one of those fights I'm going to play pretty vanilla on DraftKings, not really make a stand. Maybe bump my Ogden ownership a little bit and go from there. And forcing me to take a bet. Obviously, it's like a pick 'em fight, and I'll lean towards Ogden. How about for you, Monk?
Y'all go ahead and just lean the other way, just barely. I'm not taking a stand here. This is a good GPP fight. I'm not playing it in cash. We got one guy who gets knocked out facing a guy that doesn't knock anyone out. And on the other side, we got a guy that loses by sub going against a guy that has never subbed anyone, and it's very low level. I'm going to pick Nicholas Motta because he can crack. Ogden gone to decision all 3 times, but he hasn't really fought super powerful strikers. Jordan Leavitt took an L to him. Daniel Zellhuber, obviously his win in which he looked very tough and kind of came back a little bit. And then Ignacio Bahamondes, who is a good striker, but he doesn't really crack super hard unless he's throwing that spinning wheel kick to your head. So I'm going to just ever so slightly lean Nicholas Motta, hoping to see him rather get a finish here and pay off some DraftKings GPP lineups for me. But at the salaries, you said it's a pick 'em. You can get to either one of these guys. I'm not really interested in Trey Ogden for GPPs and his one win. He put up 65 points. So I'm leaning Motta. I think he has more DraftKings upside, and hopefully he can find the chin.
Last fight, let's go to Rafael Estevam. He's 8,200 taking on Charles Johnson, 8,000 on DraftKings. Line on this fight. You had some odds value here. Estevam has been steamed up to minus 150. Johnson's at plus 130. Monk, what do you got?
Johnson is 2 wins in his last 5 are to Jimmy Flick, big deal, and then Zhalgas Zhumagulov. Everybody beats that guy, even the judges. Estevam hasn't fought in the UFC. I think didn't he miss weight and his fight was called off? I believe is the case. Correct me if I'm wrong. But we're looking at major takedowns here. That's the path to victory for Estevam. That's why you would play him in DFS. Again, this to me not a cash game play. Strictly GPP. I don't mind Estevam in there for his gigantic wrestling upside. And Charles Johnson, if you remember, did get taken down 11 times by Durden. Wow, this dude, I was talking about somebody's takedowns, 23 in his last 5. I think it was JSP. Yep. Johnson was taken down 11 times by Durden, 3 by Osborne, once by Flick, once by Zhumagulov, and 12 times by Makayev. So we're almost at 30 there in his last 5. So play Rafael Estevam. If he can't get takedowns, you're probably going to want some of Charles Johnson, who did put up a decent number against Flick at 114 and 83 against Zhalgas. So I'll probably be heavier on Estevam just because I think his path to victory scores better, but I'll have a little bit of both sides. And again, not a cash game play for me.
I like Estevam quite a bit. I do think it's a cash game play because the odds are up to minus 150, and it's basically a pick and fight. He's up to minus 150.
Okay.
I think, like you said, he's going to look for takedowns. Charles Johnson gives them up. I actually think Estevam's more likely to get a finish. I think he's pretty explosive. I like Estevam quite a bit. He's my favorite play in the mid range, and hopefully the first fight of the night doesn't fuck me this week. Like you, Jamal Emmers. Third time I mentioned you on this podcast, you bitch.
And you don't deserve any of them. You hurt me so bad.
Yeah, it just hurt me. It was a good win. I don't like your reaction. Your opponent responded to getting hit once was concerning, but that's not on Emmers.
That happens in the first minute of the card, and I'm like throwing papers around. I'm like, what the fuck?
It's not on Emmers. Emmers did what he was supposed to do. His opponent was shit. So anyway, Estevam is my favorite play in the mid range. I like the value there quite a bit. All right, let's go to kill shots. Killshot, if you don't know, unexpected play. We, not a chalk play. We expect to break the slate. So usually the main event fighter can't, even if you're on Paul Craig, I don't think it's a kill shot because main event's always usually decently owned, unless you were going to take Derek Lewis against Jailton Almeida, I suppose. So yeah, I already gave mine out earlier. I'm going Luana Pinheiro. Monk, who you got?
Yeah, that's a great one. That was my number 1. I'll give you, and the rest are trash. I don't like any of these. Just a disclosure. If this fight even happens, I think it could be an upset. Jesus, it's just trash. Jordan Leavitt. I'm just gonna say it. I don't think Jesu. I don't think this fight's good. I think a lot of different things could happen, and I think Leavitt has an opportunity to get a really shitty, terrible, awful, no good, very bad decision. I I mean, I don't like any of the other ones really at all. At all.
Solid movie reference. Solid movie reference for all you dads out there. All right, that's what we got for UFC Vegas 82. Allen versus Craig. Hit the like button if you didn't already. Full breakdowns, cheat sheets, DFS builders. Just check the links below, guys. Just go. Hope to see you in there. Chat up fights on fight day or before in the Discord. Hope you enjoy your holiday. We're not going to see you guys until after the holiday. So enjoy your Thanksgiving with the family. Enjoy the fights on Saturday. And I will see you next time. See you, Monk.
Be safe.